Hey guys, this is Parag here. Welcome back to Stay Strong podcast. We have Emma from Australia. Over to you, Emma. Please introduce yourself, how you got introduced to kettlebell sport, and most important, your background, which is either fitness or professional background, both.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name's Emma Francis. I have been competing in kettlebell sport since about 2016. My coach, I've only ever had one coach, James Ross. He introduced the sport to me, introduced me to competing in the sport. Back at that time, he was trying to get more women at his gym to participate. I had some exposure to kettlebells in more of a kind of fitness context. I was aware. So the first person in Australia to get MS was a woman called Emily Friedel. So I knew she was competing, but it was something I kind of saw as something I could probably, I kind of held her at a higher standard as something that I could never really do. Because when she got MS, everybody was like, wow. James was like, you should give it a go. We're going to run a class on a Saturday morning. And in particular, it's going to focus on women. I went. I'd like to give things a go. And I really enjoyed it. And it's something that keeps me motivated to continue staying fit, staying in shape. I haven't had, let's say during this time, your passion for the sport goes up and down. Especially during the pandemic, I found it very hard to keep motivated. I think, and after I moved over here to Geneva, I found it very hard because I didn't have a group of people to train with. I still don't have a group of people to train with. I train here on my own, and it's quite difficult to maintain interest when it's just you and your kettlebells. But I find having a couple of events in the calendar that you need to work towards really helps. In terms of professional, I moved to Switzerland 5 years ago for a job.
Yeah.
I got offered a job working in the IP sector for the United Nations. So I work at WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, in their data division. And it's very interesting work. And Switzerland's a beautiful place to be.
Wow, interesting. So being in Switzerland, how do you train? How do you have your work schedule and your training schedule? Do you work like 7 to 8 hours? Do you work from the home? So if you can just throw a little highlight, how do you manage both the things?
I used to do all my kettlebell training at home.
Okay.
So if that made it very easy, I would just find a moment in the day where I would, set up my corner. I had like sports floor that I would pull out and, I have a whole range of kettlebells here at home.
Okay.
But I found it's quite isolating to maintain that over a number of years. So in the last year or so, I've joined a powerlifting gym. And I now train with all the powerlifters. They don't know what I'm doing, but it's nice to, and the program that I'm doing is still the program of my coach, James Ross. But I train next to the powerlifters. They're doing their deadlifts and their bench presses, and I'm doing my clean and jerks. But we're all training together at the gym.
Okay.
And I've, it's kind of reinvigorated me to go more often, but it makes, like you're saying, it's harder to do the kind of the balance with finding training, outside of work. It just means you have less time for everything else.
Yes.
It's like training becomes the priority, and maybe instead of going out to dinner with friends, I'll go to the gym because I have less time and I'm not training at home. So then, especially when I have I'm preparing for an event, then training will generally rise up the list of priorities, and it'll be work, training, work and training. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's, you have to put the hours in if you want to get stronger.
Yes. Okay. So how does your training look like? Do you combine strength training and kettlebell training on the same day? Do you train 6 times a week, or do you train 3 times a week? how does your training look like all throughout the week?
At the moment, I do 3 kettlebell sessions or 3 strength sessions. So I would do 2 kettlebell sessions and say more of a bar work session doing squats and deadlifts and presses. And so that's every week. And at the moment, because in Switzerland, it's very snowy, I'm doing cross-country skiing is my
Okay.
kind of cross training. So it's very cardio intensive. So it's like running.
Okay.
So I do that once a week, sometimes twice a week. So then that's about 5 sessions. So I
Okay.
do between 4 and 5 sessions a week,
Okay.
and have 2 days off.
Okay. 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 And were you always into the sport? Like now you're in Switzerland. I think you said you are there for 5 years. So, what was your background earlier? Did you had some fitness background, or was it always that you wanted to get into some kind of a sport and you got into kettlebell sport, or did you ever run earlier? Did yoga? Anything like prior to getting into kettlebell sport? If you can just give us a little background about it.
Yeah, I joined the sport quite late, I
Yeah,
think, considering, the Russians are joining the sport,
early. Yes.
while they're still very young. Um, Whereas I was in my late 20s, I think, before I
Okay.
lifted a kettlebell.
Okay.
Prior to that, I did some functional fitness training, some running, some yoga, some Pilates. When I was in school, I used to play hockey,
Okay.
but it's, I think I've gotten fitter as I've gotten older,
Okay. That's
which is
nice.
probably a good thing, I think,
Yes. Yes.
considering, women over 40, the muscles start deteriorating. So I think in order to counter that, it's good to have some element of weight training.
Fitness.
And I
Yes.
think
Yes.
I'm kind of increasing as I'm getting older. I'm doing more and more training as opposed to when I was
Yes.
younger, I might go for a run once a week, or I
Okay.
might, play a hockey game on a Saturday when I was in school.
Okay.
But that would be the extent of it. And now, I'm training 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay. Okay, that's nice. Now, as you mentioned that post 40, the muscles start deteriorating. How do you motivate yourself after 40 to lift heavy weights? Like this is a very, a very unique, every woman has a very unique answer. Some say, we get motivated by watching someone older than us watching lift kettlebells. What is your part on the motivational part? Like, are you self-motivated, or do you have any protocols for your, like you train your mind, okay, I'm gonna do this today no matter what? Do you write it down, certain things? How does you really, how do you motivate yourself to keep training up always?
Um, I'm quite I'm quite self-motivating in that I have a routine. I
Okay.
am one of those people who writes everything down, and I get motivated by my progress. So, from week to week, when I see I'm getting stronger, I feel good, and that makes me want to go again the next week. I'm also very motivated seeing, other female lifters, and seeing them, you know, um, breaking records and getting
Yes.
stronger. And I remember years ago, I saw when they did the pilot of the double 24s with the women, and I
Mm-hmm.
was there in the room, and it was so motivating seeing, I think that was like 3 women up there. Anyway, it was incredible. All of us were sitting there, and no one knew just how good they would be. And I saw them doing the double 24s. And when I went back to training, straight away, right, I want to start doing doubles. And it was just, because I'd always just been single arm, doing long cycles, single arm for many years, very comfortable, 16 kilograms, always just trying to, get more reps every year, but never really, I never really even considered doubles until I saw everybody doing double 24s. And I'm like, wow, that's it. I'm going to be doing doubles now. Only doubles.
Okay. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Wow. Um, you started kettlebell training how many years back?
I started competing in Gearboy sport in about 2016.
2016.
So
Okay.
I'd done some, kind of more fitness style training with kettlebells before that, but not really focused on giveaway sport
Okay.
until 2016. Yeah.
Okay. So 2016, 2023. So it's like 7 years you are doing kettlebells. And earlier, prior to that, you were doing certain fitness activity. It might be lifting weights, probably doing some sport. How was a transition in your day-to-day living activity when you started kettlebell sport? Like, you understand my question?
In terms of the positive benefits, is
in,
this
in,
this
in in the
this
terms of activity of daily living, see, we whatever the daily course we are doing, it might be anything, right? You are running for your work, probably you're catching a train, probably you're doing certain works, and but you were there doing fitness activity earlier also. Like typically, if you'll see, there are many women to whom I've podcasted, they were doing some of the other kind of fitness activity, but when they got into kettlebells and kettlebell sport, things have drastically changed for them. What was your transition from 2016 to 2023, prior and now? Like how you understand my question, right, Emma?
I think so.
In the terms of activity of daily living, in the terms of mind health, in the terms of physical health, a lot of things, sleeping activity, you can give so many examples. If there are so many changes, positive changes, if there are. Yeah, yeah.
It, it,
And
it's true. It's true. I think I use kettlebell sport as a form of meditation, I guess,
okay.
in that it's something that, it's quite consuming. It's no matter how many years you do it, it's difficult. And I think everyone would say it doesn't get that much easier because, as soon as you hit one target, then you lift heavier and then it's hard all over again. And then you have to start over. So it's something that while I'm doing, it's consuming and it's a proper break. No matter how busy your day is, you go to the gym, you do your training, you hit a PB, and then you have that feeling of satisfaction, and that gives you, I don't know, like a double bonus. You've broken that kind of stress cycle, and then you've achieved something. So I think it's probably been very good for my mental health in
Yeah.
that way, and that I've had a way of dealing with stress in a different way to perhaps some of my colleagues who
Yeah.
aren't as active and just go to the office and go home to their families and yeah aren't very active. um I feel, since starting, because when I started in 2016 I was starting with the 12 kilograms
Okay.
like people do start, and I've gotten quite strong during that period, and I like feeling strong, and it's something that I didn't really have before then. I felt at times fit, but I didn't feel strong. And now I feel strong, I go into the gym. Now I'm out of the powerlifting gym with all the boys, and they look at me and they're like, wow, she's really strong. And I like that.
It's
I like
nice.
being able to, I don't know what it is about being a woman and being able to feel strong. There's something so satisfying about it.
Yes. Yes. Okay. What is your biggest challenge in kettlebell lifting, Emma?
Oh,
Like,
biggest
if
challenge.
if you are lifting heavy from 16 to 20, 20 to 24, whether it is getting the form correct, whether it's a cardiovascular system, whether it's a strength aspect, whether it's a flexibility, whether it's a mindset, whether you're mentally maybe a little weaker, I want to get more stronger, whether you give up faster, what is your challenge and how do you overcome that?
Okay, so I think my particular challenge is I'm not very good at pushing myself very hard.
Okay.
I'm probably much stronger than I will admit. And
Okay.
so, my coach will set a program, I'll do the program, and he'll give me a range, and I always pick the lowest part of the range, and I'll do that. And I'm like, well, I did my training. But in reality, I should be pushing it further, and I probably would be getting a lot stronger. The other thing I'm not very good at is nutrition.
Okay.
I'm somebody who, if I have a stressful day, then I'll have a glass of wine, or I have some chocolate, or I have, because I'm you have that feeling that you've earned it, and oh well, I've had a horrible day, so then I'll go and find some way of making myself feel better. So I've never, when I go to competitions, I'm sitting amongst these women, all these women who are also competing, and they're talking about everything they've given up and how strict they are on their diet and how they're taking all these supplements, and they haven't had a drink in months. And I'm like, oh wow. Okay. So it's something I've been thinking about recently, about how much better I would probably do if I started to focus a bit more on nutrition.
Yes.
And like I've always made sure I have a lot of protein in my diet, because that's something that I know you need protein for recovery.
Yes.
So I always had protein. That's fine. That's good.
Okay.
But everything else, I'm not very good at. So I think that's something for this year that I'm going to be focusing on, is trying to improve my nutrition.
Okay. Okay. So, do you take supplements? And if so, what? Like, for example, there are multivitamins, or do you have everything from your food and nutrition, or do you have anything added supplements?
Not at all.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
take any supplements at all. I get my protein from natural sources. I don't drink protein shakes. I might grab a protein bar if I'm in a hurry for breakfast, but I don't take any supplements at all. In fact, I wouldn't even know where to start in terms of supplements. I get everything that I need for training from natural sources, just from my diet.
Okay. 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 So that's really nice. Um, I mean, you're like vegetarian, non-vegetarian, or like you eat meat, or if you wanna, like, you understand what I want to ask,
I
like,
do. Yeah,
eh,
yeah.
every meal is
Um,
there? Yeah.
I eat meat, yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I find that's
Chicken,
probably
fish.
much easier to get
Okay.
enough protein in your day if you're
Yes.
eating meat.
Yes. Yes.
I have gone through periods of time where I'm vegetarian, but at the moment, yeah, I'm eating meat. And yeah, I find if I don't eat meat, my iron levels get too low.
Okay.
So yeah, I have in the past given up meat and then come back just to
Okay.
make sure that my iron was high enough. Yeah, so at the moment I'm eating meat, and yeah, that's
Okay.
working for me.
Okay. That's nice. Do you have any negative experience about kettlebell training? Anything, if you have?
Ah, um, I have had some issues with inconsistent judging at competitions.
Okay. Okay.
Just
Yeah. Most
where,
of the athletes will have that.
yeah, no, I think everybody has a story. Um, I was once disqualified and given a red card for a shoulder assist, which I didn't even know was a rule.
Okay.
And I was one rep from qualifying for the Australian team at the Europeans, and it hit my shoulder because I'd over rotated on one side because I was losing my grip,
Okay.
and it bounced off my shoulder into rack,
Okay.
and I got disqualified. And I didn't know it was a rule, and I just
Oh.
needed one more rep, and I was on the team. And I remember just falling apart after that competition because I should have qualified, and I was there, and because I went down again, and I put it up one more time, but he put the red card up at the same time, so that was my qualifying rep. And
Okay.
I was just devastated because I'd done the reps, I'd done the training, I'd done it, and I was on the platform, and I should have got and I needed that one. I would have put it down after that. I only needed to do 71. I had 71 up, and I was just, anyway, I had a little break after that from the sport
Yeah.
because I was just devastated to have done all that, to have gone that far, and I had to have been disqualified for a rule I didn't even know existed.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, I think everybody, like you said, everybody has a story to tell where maybe the judging wasn't optimal. And so it's something that you know, it's not unique to me. It's everybody has to deal with, and you just have to give your best performance on the day.
Absolutely. You have ever got injured by kettlebells?
Um, no. As I said, I'm somebody who doesn't necessarily push themselves as far as they probably could. So
Okay.
I've never really had a serious injury from kettlebells, no. So I'm quite conscious, you know, being over 40, that I am breakable. I think when I was younger, I was very kind of gung-ho with things. Um, so another sport I do in Switzerland is trail running. And with trail
Okay.
running, you hike up a mountain and then you run down the other side. And all the young kids are screaming past me as fast as possible, running down this hill on this tiny little track.
Okay.
And I'm going very slowly because I'm very conscious that if I put a foot wrong, I'm going down the side of the mountain. And I'm the same with kettlebells. I know my limits and I'll go up to the limit, but I won't, like, I know I leave a little buffer so I don't injure myself. So I don't think I've ever been properly injured doing kettlebells at all.
Okay.
No, I have the the hands. I've torn my hands more than during competitions. I've like bled everywhere.
Okay.
I've got, but never anything too serious that I wouldn't recover from within a week.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, generally speaking, if you compare powerlifting, if you compare CrossFit, if you compare kettlebell training, if you compare bodybuilding, kettlebell training will have very less injury. In fact, it is almost nine. It is almost not there in comparison with
Mm.
what other sports are there. So it's one of the best thing what kettlebells has, and that is why I think many people are now slowly getting attracted toward this sport, which is really nice for the sport as well.
Yes, and I think it's also because there's a focus on form, I think powerlifting to some extent also has a focus on form,
Wow.
but kettlebell lifting, if you're lifting 100 times, your form has to be perfect. So
Yes.
because your form is perfect, that means that you're less likely to injure yourself because you're always thinking about, you got to have your arm in a particular position, you got to lock out in a particular position, and you're constantly thinking about every rep and doing every rep well. So then it makes sense that you're not going to get injured.
Yes. Yes. Great. So you've been now coaching with James for a while, and
Mhm.
have you ever tried coaching by yourself? And what is the difference if you have tried? So coaching, taking a coaching or learning or following the programs from the coach and doing it by yourself, have you checked the differences?
Um, I pretty much have had a program from James since 2016. I wouldn't consider training myself. I'm probably like I've been doing this for years now, but if my goal is to achieve at a competition, then I
Hmm.
need a coach because they will make sure that I'm on track, that I'm getting
Yes.
stronger every week. Whereas if you're training yourself, it's fine if you just want to stay fit, be active. Like I was saying before, it's for me a form of meditation. I wouldn't need a coach so much if it was just putting the kettlebells over my head, staying fit, whatever. But I think if you want to get stronger, then you need a coach. I think it's, for me, pretty simple.
Okay. Okay. That's nice. So yeah, we are almost on the end of the podcast, and I would really like to know your best of the best lifting records in 10-minute classic and marathon if you've done marathon, and your best numbers if you have got any rank like MSW, CMS or anything. Maybe the numbers would really help the viewers to
Okay.
know your trainings with 16, 20s, 24s if you have tried, because I don't know if you're now doing double 20s or double 16s. I'm unsure about it, but if you can just give us the best numbers.
Okay. So yes, I might well make PB because I got disqualified. For the double 16s long cycle, traditional is 70.
Okay.
Then I've in marathon is I had a break from the sport,
Mm-hmm.
and when I came back, I went in starting with marathon because I find marathon very enjoyable. With the multi-switch format, it
Uh-huh.
means it's less grip intensive. So when I returned to the sport, I started competing with marathon, and because I enjoy it, I actually enjoy it. And I think my PB for 16 kilogram long cycle 30 minutes is 384.
Okay. It's nice.
For 20 kilogram long cycle 30 minutes, I think I've done 280, around 284.
Okay. Wow.
Um, for I think my PB for 10 minutes, 20 kilograms, 20, yeah, 10 minutes, 20 kilograms, long cycle is 112.
That's OLC. Wow.
Oh, yeah, yeah, one, exactly.
Okay.
I've never competed with double 20s. I do some in training. It's
Okay.
very heavy.
Yes.
It's
You will
something
one day.
I'm working towards.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, primarily I do long cycle or OALC.
OLC. Yeah.
I do a bit of jerks. I've competed in jerks before, but I couldn't tell you what the numbers were. It was years ago. And yeah, so I think what I would like to do this year is start working towards doing biathlon. So
Okay.
double 16s jerks and then 16 snatch.
Snatch.
Snatch is not my favorite event.
No.
It's very technical.
Yes.
And it's something I'm still, I guess everybody's working on their snatch technique, always working on their snatch technique.
Always.
And so, yeah,
Yes.
it's something, yeah, I would really enjoy doing biathlon. I think that's what's going to keep me motivated this year.
Okay.
I think the jerks I will be able to do.
Okay.
It's just going to be able to get anywhere close with the numbers with snatch with a 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. Oh, great. Um, Before we leave, what message do you want to give to the women lifters out here in India based on your experience? Like, what are the three takeaways if you want to point-wise mention them? Two is also fine. Three would be much better. However you
Okay.
feel. It's not like that it's two or three, but yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said before, every woman over 40 has got to be doing some sort of weight training. Whatever works for you, keeps you motivated, makes you want to be active. I think kettlebells is a great way of doing that. Just give it a go. Start light. Everybody starts light. And, my mother, she will lift my nephew who's 12 kilograms, but she wouldn't lift a 12 kilogram kettlebell. And you go, Mum, it's like the same thing. In fact, kettlebells don't move. They're easier to carry. So I think it's one of those things where you've just got to give a go, and you're not going to get bulky lifting weights because it's so hard to build muscle as a woman. So don't worry about that either. Just go and try, and if you enjoy it, if you enjoy it, it's then all about consistency, making sure that you go every week, because if you go 3 times 1 week and then you don't go for 3 weeks, you can't really expect to be getting stronger. And it's something where you really do need to kind of commit to it and commit to going every week, and then you'll get a lot of value from it.
Yes.
So let's do things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice. Thanks, Emma. Thanks for the insightful talk with you. It was really nice. And I know Australian team is very strong because I've been watching Australian team for a very long time. I've been competing since 2014, and you guys are really strong. And I really wish that the Australian dream grows in kettlebell sport. And I've been following GGSA, I think, Revolving Sport.
GSAA, yeah.
Yeah. So so you guys really do very good competitions all year around, and it's really nice. So thank you very much for your valuable time, And
Yeah, no
I really look
problems.
forward for one of your competitions. We can meet up.
Yeah, great. Okay, see you there.
Thank you.